and we had number 14 Oklahoma. They played number 21 Texas in the Red River Shootout, and this was not a shootout. It was pretty low scoring, and Oklahoma was not great in this one. John Mateer came back 2 weeks before he was supposed to. He had tape on his hands. His hand was messed up in the Auburn game a few weeks ago, if you remember that. But it felt like his hand was not as bad as it seemed because he was only going to be out for a month, they said initially. But then it was like, oh, he hurt it in the first quarter and still played great and had like a game-winning drive towards the end. I'm like, he did all that and it was hurt in the first quarter. So it was like, maybe it wasn't that bad. So I was thinking maybe he could get into this game. And he did. And he probably shouldn't have. I mean, it wasn't necessarily that his like hand he couldn't throw well, but it's just he was just throwing it to the wrong places, quite frankly, Jack.
Absolutely. I think he probably came back too soon. I was
Right.
very hyped to see that he was coming back earlier than expected.
Right. Yeah, me as well.
But this is, yeah, one of the toughest teams to play with this rivalry going that they have.
Right.
So I would have sat out last week. I mean, they played Kent State. They played great there.
Right.
Backup played good there.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if I would have rushed to come back. I mean, I get what you want to play, but I still would have sat out. I mean, this is an important game, of course,
Right.
but I still wouldn't have come back. I mean, Mateer has been great all year. I mean, he's like the one-man wrecking crew, but like when you're coming back from an injury
Mhm.
like that, and the offense relies so heavily on you,
Right.
like not Arch Manning, he's more of like a game manager type, but
Right.
Mateer is like the offense really runs through him.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if I would have come back so soon. I mean, like that Auburn game, it was really all of him and the reason why they won that
Mhm.
game,
Right.
and the Michigan game
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So I still wouldn't have come back so soon, and I think that's the reason why they lost this game. I mean, I think they lose it no matter what,
Mhm.
just because Texas really has been playing like a complete unit.
Right.
But that second half performance is really not it with those three picks that he had. So yeah.
Right. And even though he threw a lot of yards, and even though like a lot of people are saying, well, when he was throwing the ball, like it looked pretty good, like it looked like he was back to full strength. Do you think that maybe wasn't necessarily like his power or like essentially like his throwing, but it really messed up with his accuracy, Jack?
I think so for sure. Like there was definitely some throws where I didn't even really know where he was going with the ball or what his thought process was.
Right.
And there was a tip ball interception, but still, like there's some throws that just should not have gone there. Like, it's definitely a tough place to play. I get that, but this was an important game nonetheless. And I mean, it's a good loss
Hmm.
because
Right.
Texas is ranked now. But I still, this defense is probably the best defense they've played this year,
Hmm.
and I still wouldn't have rushed to come back because you've been playing great with your backup quarterback. So,
Right. And you worry that maybe he was like trying to force himself into throws that he could make before the injury because he was playing at a Heisman level for a minute. And now people are kind of clowning him, saying, like, this is your guys' Heisman, like with all the interceptions. Like, well, he hasn't been the same since that injury. He hasn't played since the injury until this one, and this was bad. And I understand why he came back early. I don't think he should have. I mean, I was really hoping he would, though, so it's hard to say that now. But just you could see that they probably would have had a better chance without him because I mean, he barely completed over 50% of his passes. I mean, he had 18 incompletions. Like he wasn't great. He had three completions to the other team. So Mateer and they played pretty good against Kent State, but it's Kent State. But it's like you'd think that if they took care of the ball better, because Texas only scored 23 points. You think if they take care of the ball better, don't give Texas short fields, whatever the case may be, that maybe they have a better chance in this, Jack.
yeah, absolutely. I think they should have just set them out more time, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. This is a very important game. I get what you want to go out there. I mean, it sucks that this injury kind of derailed this season a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, moving over to Texas. I mean, this is a very good performance. I
Right.
mean,
They needed
this
it.
is the most complete. They really needed this game, especially that week last week against Florida, where they just were not clicking at all. Florida is an interesting team because I think they're still a great team,
Hmm.
but their schedule really has not been kind to them at all.
No. Yeah.
But that game was very messy last week. Arch did not play that great. His offensive line was awful last game, but this week really showed like this team is definitely still one of the best teams in the country. And they
Right.
were really clicking as a whole unit. There wasn't really one player
Mhm.
that really shined above the rest. It was just the whole unit really clicking on all cylinders. What do you think about Texas?
Right. I mean, they really needed to win this game. There was going to be no excuses if they didn't. And had they lost this one, it was going to be a really hard trek to get back in the rankings. But now it starts to become a little more attainable for them to make a run in the SEC. And by the way, they finally got a Power Four win. They didn't have one yet. They only beat Sam Houston, UTEP, San Jose State. They finally got a team, a Power Four team win. And Texas, they only had the one conference loss against Florida. Ohio State was, of course, out of conference. And you look at this, they go on the road at Kentucky, who's struggling, and then they go on the road at Mississippi State. And while they're better than their record, Mississippi State looked pretty lifeless against Texas A&M, but Texas A&M is really good at swallowing teams' offenses, so Mississippi State could certainly make trouble when they host Texas. And then they host Vanderbilt, who's really good. They go on the road at Georgia, and then later in the year they host Texas A&M. It's like Texas' schedule is really tricky, and honestly, the whole SEC is just a mosh pit where I don't think Texas is coming out on top of that conference. There's no way. I feel like there's too many games that they're going to lose on this stretch, and not necessarily that they're bad, but it's just there's too many good teams. They're not going to make it through this gauntlet, Jack.
I'm a little doubtful as well. I mean, I think there's a chance just because they've played so well in
Right.
this game. If they can keep that momentum really going,
Right.
they were at home against
Mm-hmm.
a struggling offense in Oklahoma with this game.
Right.
So I don't see it either. I really don't see them running the gauntlet there.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me though, just because Texas is just their recruiting has been so good, and they have so many good athletes there.
Right.
So it could go either way. They're still a great team,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to see more from them before I say that they could win out or something like that and really be in the mix for the college football playoff.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. And they made the semifinals in back-to-back years, but were unable to get to the big game. And Texas, they're just one of those teams where like I really don't know how to feel about them because it's like you lost to Florida on the road, not great, and you lost to Ohio State on the road, which is like losing to Ohio State on the road. That's a very respectable loss. And the final stat sheet will say they lost by 7, which isn't too bad. Felt like more, but wasn't that bad on paper. And then you can't go on the road at Florida, who had already lost 3 times, and lose that game. And then they go to Red River and they beat Oklahoma. Now, regardless of what you say about Oklahoma, the interceptions were bad, but Texas did play a good game. And it was so crucial that they won this one because they couldn't open out 0-2 in conference and still think they have a chance to get back to the SEC championship game like they did last year. And even though I think Texas could go on a run, there's just too many games here, and I would be so shocked if they ended up back in the semifinals, Jack.
Yeah, I don't see it either. This is a very talented team, but they need to go on like a serious run. I
Right.
just don't see that from this team. I mean, this is their first Power Four win, like you said.
Right.
And this is like the first time this season where we've really seen them like play as a complete unit.
Right.
Their schedule does get, I mean, their last 3 games are the toughest that they play. So we'll see. But again, I don't see them running the table at all with this.
Right. I don't either. And I think the SEC is just so deep. I would be very surprised if Texas was the one to come out on top.